let's talk about the one thing that forms the absolute bedrock of your financial security, an emergency fund. I mean, this is the tool that can take what could be a life-altering crisis and turn it into just an annoying inconvenience. So today, we're going to break down how to build one that actually works when you really, really need it.
So, let me ask you something straight up. Just think about it for a second, honestly. If your car suddenly broke down tomorrow, or you got hit with a surprise medical bill, could you handle it? Could you find that money without having to swipe a credit card and go into debt?
If you hesitated, or if the answer was no, you are definitely not alone. I mean, look at this. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, about half of all U.S. households would really struggle with that exact situation. That number is staggering, and it's exactly why building this financial safety net is so incredibly important.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to cover all the bases. We'll start with why you even need this thing. Then we'll define what a good one actually looks like. We'll figure out your personal target number, walk through the exact steps to build it, and talk about the best places to keep it. And stick around, because at the end, we've got a more advanced strategy to make you even more financially bulletproof.
Okay, first things first, let's get really clear on the why. This isn't just about squirreling away some extra cash. It's about building a wall between you and the chaos. It's the thing that keeps one single unexpected bad day from completely derailing your entire financial life.
So what is it really? Well, simply put, it's a stash of money you've set aside for one purpose and one purpose only, to handle the things life throws at you that you just didn't see coming. Think of it as your first line of defense if you lose your job, get a surprise bill from the doctor, or, your car's engine decides it's had enough.
I think the best way to think about it is like a personal insurance policy. But instead of cutting a check to some big company every month, you're paying yourself. You're building your very own financial shield that's ready to protect you when life's storms hit. It's not just money, it's peace of mind.
Okay, so not all savings are created equal, right? A truly effective emergency fund, the kind that actually works when you're stressed out and under pressure, it has 4 key characteristics.
So for this to work, it has to follow 4 rules. First, it has to be specific. This is not your buy a new TV fund. It's for emergencies, period. Second, it has to be accessible. That means it's in a liquid account where you can get your hands on the cash quickly without paying a bunch of fees. It also has to be flexible. The amount you need isn't set in stone. It's going to change as your life changes. And finally, it's ever-changing. It's a living thing. You build it, you might have to use it, and then you just rebuild it. That's the cycle.
Now for the big one. How much are we actually talking about here? It's way easier to save when you have a real, tangible number to aim for.
The classic rule of thumb, and it's a fantastic starting point for most people, is to have 3 to 6 months worth of your essential living expenses saved up. And I really want to stress that word essential. We're talking about the absolute must-pays. Your rent or mortgage, your utilities, groceries, transportation, the things you have to pay to keep the lights on and a roof over your head. This isn't your budget for lattes and Netflix.
But of course, one size never fits all in personal finance. Your own situation really matters here. If you have a pretty stable job, maybe in a dual-income household, that 3 to 6 month range is a really solid buffer. But if you're a freelancer or a gig worker or your income just kind of goes up and down, most experts recommend aiming a bit higher. We're talking closer to 6 or maybe even 12 months just to help you ride out any of those leaner times without stressing.
All right, now for what might be the most important part of all of this, the action plan. This is how you stop thinking about it and actually start doing it. This is how you build your fund, step by step.
Okay, here's your 5-step playbook. Step 1 is to assess. You have to know your number, so sit down and calculate your bare-bones monthly costs. Step 2, set a goal. Don't overwhelm yourself. Maybe start with a mini goal, just $500, and actually write it down. Step 3 is the magic trick. Automate it. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking to your savings for every single payday. You'll be saving money without even thinking about it. Step 4, find more cash. Look for small costs you can cut or maybe find ways to bring in a little extra money on the side. And finally, Step 5, save your windfalls. Any unexpected money that comes your way, a tax refund, a work bonus, a birthday gift, it goes straight into the fund before you even have a chance to miss it.
Okay, so you're starting to save, which is awesome. But where do you actually put the money? The location is almost as important as the amount itself, because you're trying to find that perfect balance between safety, easy access, and maybe even a little bit of growth.
The 2 best players in the game here are a high-yield savings account, or an HYSA, and a money market fund. And the key difference really comes down to safety. A high-yield savings account is FDIC insured. That means your money is protected by the federal government up to $250,000. It is basically zero risk. A money market fund, on the other hand, is an investment, so it's not insured. Now, the risk is very, very low, and it might give you a slightly higher return, but for a true emergency fund, most experts are going to point you right to the HYSA for that ironclad protection.
All right, once you've got your main emergency fund started and it's growing, you can actually level up your strategy for even more financial control. And this is where we get into the difference between emergency funds and something called sinking funds.
Okay, this distinction is a total game changer, I promise. Your emergency fund is for true, capital U, unexpected crises. A job loss is unexpected. A sudden trip to the ER is unexpected. Sinking funds are for costs that are expected. They're just not regular monthly bills. You know you're going to need new tires eventually. You know the holidays come around every single December. By setting up separate little savings buckets for these things, you stop mistaking a predictable expense for a true emergency.
So why does this matter so much? Because it acts as a bodyguard for your main emergency fund. It keeps that big 3 to 6 month cushion safe and sound for a real, life-altering disaster, instead of you having to drain it just to pay for new brakes or holiday gifts you knew were coming all along.
Now, before we wrap up, I need to say something that's really, really important. It's a mindset shift. If you have to use your fund, you haven't failed. You have succeeded. That is literally what it's there for. The whole point of this exercise is to have a tool that you can use when you need it. It's meant to be tapped, and then when things calm down, you just start replenishing it.
You know, Greg McBride, who's the chief financial analyst over at Bankrate, he sums this up perfectly. He says, by nature, unplanned expenses are unexpected. So the sooner you're prepared, the better off you'll be when the inevitable happens. See, preparation isn't about magical thinking or pretending bad things won't happen. It's about reducing their power and their impact when they do.
At the end of the day, building this fund is really about taking control. It's about you becoming the author of your own financial story. Every single dollar you save is another sentence in a chapter about stability, about security, about resilience. So the only question left is, what's the next chapter you're going to write?